All right, this is William Coffey with Voices of America, past, present, future. Marshall Albertson is not going to be able to make it to the show tonight. He has things going on in Sitka, Alaska, and he's finishing up some work up there and doing a few other things that he needs to do, and then he'll be able to join us on the show. Today, we're going to end up having a few guests come in. I don't know if anybody's got to meet, but Charlie Alvarez will be coming and meeting us again. So, first to join us will end up being Tony Harris, and then later we will have Charlie Alvarez. This subject is going to be covering QAnon, I think, is what he stated he'd like to talk about, which is, touchy subject. So we're going to see what we can pull up about the QAnon, Pizzagate, as some people know it. And some people might be asking, what is Q or QAnon? Um, this subject is they tried to say on the left is a disproven and discredited far right conspiracy theory, um, alleging that a cabal of Satan worshiping pedophiles is running a global child sex trafficking ring and plotting against U.S. President Donald Trump, who is fighting the cabal. And as we know, we have David Harris, who's coming to join us to talk about this subject, um, the conspiracy theory of the canon, um, or some people call it Q. So as we have Tony coming in, or as David Harris.
Yeah, I go by Tony. That's fine.
uh, we have the subject of Q tonight. And as you know, I've just mentioned that some people call it a conspiracy theory, and some people are using it to plot against the U.S. president, who is fighting the cabal. Q is what I'm gonna call it tonight. Also, calmly asserts that Trump is planning a day of reckoning known as the Storm, when thousands of members of cabal will be arrested. So I think this is going to be an interesting subject as we dig deeper into it. Um, so how are you doing today, Tony?
I'm very well. How are you?
I'm doing great.
No
Awesome.
worries. Pizzagate.
Okay, awesome. So I mean, so Pizzagate, as we know, it started with they say Hillary Clinton and John Podesta were involved in a child sex ring or pedophilia ring. And we're just going to pull it up here so everybody can have a look at it. This is the Pizzagate conspiracy theory. We're going to go through, and they try to say it's a debunked conspiracy theory, but the thing is they have not done any investigation into this issue.
Now, anytime you hear the word debunked now, you need to look closer.
Exactly, and I agree because I
That's a
was
key. I mean, that for me, that's a key word. Whenever I hear that term in the social media, I hear that term debunked. You need to look closer. Well, I used to steer clear of anything that started with conspiracy theory. So just the term conspiracy was like, oh, okay, well, that means there's a small group of people making a lot of noise over here about something. And I've since changed my feeling on that.
So yeah, they say Pizzagate is a debunked conspiracy theory that went viral during the 2016 United States presidential election. Um, Now, as we know, President Trump at the time, nominee, and he was going against Hillary Clinton. Well, every time we turn around, Hillary Clinton was getting caught up into something, just like currently Joe Biden is constantly getting pulled into something, which currently is his son and his own whatever illegal things he's been caught up in. Currently, Ukraine has Joe Biden himself as wanted criminal in an investigation. So this is interesting how, in a way, Donald Trump, right after this issue, started rescuing more children than any other president that I've ever seen, compared to even Obama.
Well, and what I remember is approximately, I guess, a year ago, may not even been that far back, you started hearing, even on the mainstream, there was enough of an occurrence for them to bring forth this, talking about stories about, oh, so and so many children were rescued and this and that. And that's when I started paying a little closer attention to it. So, I mean, I had heard the rumors about it. And again, with it, starting out with conspiracy, it immediately, turns you away. You're like, okay, well, I don't need to pay that a bunch of attention. But then when the mainstream media are even forced to report on some of this stuff,
right? And then, do you remember the giant explosion in Beirut?
I do. And
a lot of people are starting to think that was even a cover up.
And it may very well be. And we're living in a very frustrating time because, in my opinion, you see anything you see on the news, you have to start with face value, and then you have to back away from it and wait till more information comes out. And then you have to wait till what used to be conspiracy information. Now it's like you have to wait for all these other competing theories to come in before you even get a clear picture as to what just happened.
Exactly. And the people in Beirut, I was looking it up, they said that ship was in harbor in an area where prostitution and everything like that was very rampant. And they would say people went missing and things like that constantly. So, in a way, that ship, they could have been using that. Hold on. But yeah, they're saying these ships are possibly what's, because if you go on to the maritime tracker where they track all the boats in the world, there are ships out there that are unmarked, thousands of them, and I'll pull it up here in a minute, and they're unknown, and they're just floating out in the Pacific.
Well, the same type of tracking that was used to track all the trips out to Epstein's Island. It all ties in together. That and again, when originally I started looking into some of these quote unquote conspiracy theories, it starts out like that, and then the more you look, it's like a train wreck. You can't look away.
Well, those boats, I mean, there's thousands of them unmarked. And you would think, okay, because of maritime law, they're supposed to be flagged or marked.
But they're not. Okay.
All right, you can go on here on this maritime traffic website, and it'll literally show you every vessel. Like this, I have it set just to show the unknown vessels.
So the GPS pinging?
Right. This is GPS pinging off of unknown vessels.
Okay.
Into the settings. And I could say ship type. Okay, well, we do know that a lot of child trafficking, sex trafficking, and things happen in cargo vessels, right? Boom. Sure. That's just cargo vessels.
Oh, boy.
I mean, if I go and I hit tankers, I mean, there's that. See, tankers, that's what I would expect. Other than that, why would there be so many cargo vessels? Kind of went off subject a little bit, but yeah, it's amazing.
Well,
Why are
it,
there so many?
I was going to say, well, at whatever point, and I honestly, I don't remember in my quest for finding some more information about Q, and about this whole conspiracy with child trafficking and that sort of thing. As soon as I entered into the child trafficking portion of it, it caught my attention as being a father of two daughters and growing up, and I've got a big family, bunch of small kids, and then I started doing my own research and going into like how many kids uh, just through the United States just disappear. And then from that, it led me to investigation into like third world countries where kids are basically used as currency. And if you go further down this rabbit hole too, then you start realizing, okay, well, it's not just child sex trafficking. So I don't know, like I said, how far you followed down the rabbit hole, but have you uh, entertained the investigation into the adrenochrome?
Because of the adrenochrome, they're saying that it helps with your aging process.
Oh yeah,
So it's
this is the entire Hollywood elite.
oh yeah. Well, have you noticed
It's a
certain people?
it's a whole trade, and how you get the
Uh,
adrenochrome
I don't know this for a
is
fact, but certain people, once this adrenochrome issue was found out, all of a sudden these people that looked young for years and years and years, all of a sudden their face smacked a brick wall.
Goldie Hawn was
Yep.
one
Ellen DeGeneres,
yes, Ellen DeGeneres, Tom Hanks.
Tom Hanks, and he did. Say Tom Hanks, Tom, um Hillary Clinton. Her total
Well,
face structure changed.
well, and
Uh,
ultimately, when you hear this to begin with, too, you're just like, okay, you're getting a little bit crazy now. And
right, right, right.
but you have to put all this anecdotal and evidence all kind of together, and then you start realizing, wait a minute, all these people that have been crying out and freaking out in Hollywood too, where are they now? Where are they?
Right. Well, just in case some people are actually interested while they're on the show here, following along what adrenochrome is, I'm going to pull it up here. Adrenochrome is a chemical compound with a molecular formula carbon 9, hydrogen 9, NO3, which says produced by the oxidation of adrenaline, epinephrine, the derivative of carbazochrome, I can't pronounce it, is a hemostatic medication. Despite a similarity in chemical names, it is related to chrome or chromium. Now, this is something that's made in the brain. Um, and the fastest way for our bodies to make this adrenochrome, as they call it, is to cause fear. And at that moment of extreme fear, in a child or someone, usually you can get higher numbers of adrenochrome out of a child than you can an adult. So they torture, this is what I'm going off of. They torture the child to the point where they're scared to death. They suck out the adrenochrome and basically get rid of the child, or they can probably keep using them over and over to keep sucking out the adrenochrome, like an adrenochrome bank. It's what I'm going off of, and it's sad that they're using this as a anti-aging process.
The rabbit hole that you're going down right now, this is what keeps me up at night.
It does me too because it blows my mind. Uh,
The
the pizza,
level of evil
yes,
that it takes to get to this point. by the way, thank you for addressing this. This has kind of been something that it's hard to find people to actually have a conversation with about.
Oh, I'll talk about anything as long as I know what I'm talking about.
And I mean, I try not to go off the deep end of anything. Per our, previous discussion, I've told you, I'm by nature, I'm not a conspiracy theorist, but there's too much circumstantial evidence on this subject to completely ignore it, in my opinion.
Every time I dig into the subject, it always brings me around to blood harvesting, not just adrenochrome. It brings it around to long predates these groups. Basically, they state in the Dark Ages were rife with plague, fanaticism, accusations that Jews secretly fed off blood of children, which we know that's not true. Because if you go and you read in your Bible and other things, it talks about a god in the Bible. Let's see, Baal. Sacrifice children. All right. Basically, Baal, during the Bible, it says that beginning with the founding of the Phoenician colony of Carthage in about 814 BC, mothers and fathers buried their children who were sacrificed to Baal. The practice was apparently distasteful even to Carthaginians, and they began to buy children for the purpose of sacrificing or even to raise servant children instead of offering up their own. Now, do you know of Alex Jones?
Oh, no.
I don't know if you've actually seen some of his videos, but Alex Jones, we're going to pull up Alex Jones. And
Okay.
I think Alex Jones dug into this subject before he even knew about QAnon. And this is the thing. He started at the back door, and now we're starting at the front door. See, years ago. So this is going backwards for him, but for us, we're coming at it at the front angle. So let's look up Bohemian Grove.
Oh yeah, I before I knew about Q, I heard about the Bohemian Grove.
Right. Now, this is what I think. Bohemian Grove and QAnon all connected.
I can see that.
Because if you see the god there, that is Baal. Who did they sacrifice children to?
Children
Baal.
too. Mm-hmm.
Exactly.
William.
Fun.
There we go.
Rituals going on in the
how's
background.
that?
They even admit that they wear bizarre Ku Klux Klan style robes. And there's even a photo released of the ritual being engaged in. They talk about the incredible security surrounding the grove. And they even admit that a corpse, a sacrifice, is borne across the lake. But it's all in good fun. We did massive research on the occult. And one of the libraries we visited was that of Professor Tex Mars of Aeronautics. He also has written literally dozens of books on the occult. His library was very revealing about the obsession of elitists throughout history with the occult.
Front group after front group to conceal and really subvert. But behind all of these groups, there is a small cadre or elite, a core.
These high up organizations, they see, and not only even presidents on here. Let's see if I can get a couple of them pulled up here. See, this is where
I know President Bush was one.
Yeah, I mean,
original Bush one and Bush Jr. or George W.
Well, this is him. He's on his way. He's on the back road. He's got to sneak in.
Other than maybe that little red one.
Okay, so he's riding in the back of the truck.
I think when you go to heaven.
Here's just one of many signs sporting French with skulls, walls adorned with other trappings of death. We also saw signage with Latin and other ancient languages. Now we're about to let you see a little bit of what's going on with the great owl.
I'm getting this. I'm getting bold. This is the owl. I'm getting this, Allie.
Let's get out of here.
I like that.
I mean, do you see that?
Of this,
Cult activities.
I remember
And
seeing
then
them.
after the actual
Oh,
race,
so
we're
and
going to
you've
give you
seen
some
a lot of
more
this
of the
already?
history.
Well, yeah, but until our conversation,
First,
I
wanted
hadn't
to draw
linked
your attention
the
to the program that was given out to
this
the
to
viewer,
QAnon.
I guess, on a
But
Right,
it makes
I mean, it
perfect
makes
sense. It
sense,
makes
yeah.
perfect sense now.
Well, and this is the thing is like torture of children is the big thing with the worship of certain old gods. So I don't know why it's
And that's biblical.
yeah, and it is biblical. It seems like certain people fall to the old gods. Same thing that happened in the Bible when Moses and them left. Well, they started making golden idols and things like that. So, I mean,
Yeah.
you always have some who fall back to the old ways, and especially those who are elites and they've got more money than they got brains. So they do things that are just plain stupid, I think.
I would concur with that statement.
I mean, I would love to go and experience and jumping out of an airplane with a parachute, but I probably won't ever do it.
It's overrated.
Yeah, that's what I keep hearing. But it's sad because there's so many children disappearing in America, and many of them are happening in Washington, D.C. Can you guess how many children go missing in Washington, D.C. every year?
I don't know about Washington, D.C., but when I first came across the QAnon videos, I started going, I started looking, wait a minute, let me go research some of this stuff. And it blew my mind just as a nation how many kids go missing. But I would not even fathom to guess how many in Washington, D.C. I'm guessing that it's proportionately a lot higher than across the United States.
Well, if I actually wanted to check, I'm sure it's probably higher in some other places. But just because you would think DC is our capital, you would think, okay, there's police everywhere, it's going to be safe. Most of the time there's parents and grandparents, and you're always hanging on to your children, or you would hope somebody's holding your children, in your family. Out of 400,000 missing children cases every year, Washington has more than 2,000 kids go missing in DC.
Unbelievable.
And it's sad. And it just makes a man want to cry because there's so many children out there that are hurt.
Let's see. So I'm pulling up according to key facts. Let's see. According to the FBI in 2019, there were 421,000 entries for missing children. And then the total number of missing children entries into the NCIC was 425,000 in 2018. So
The number keeps going up.
Well, that was actually backwards, but I'm not sure if a lot of those are repeats I mean, if they're re-entered
Right.
each year,
actually,
obviously you
I'm
don't stop
wondering-
looking. You don't stop looking for them just because the year changes. So I'd have to go
So
into
that makes me wonder too. Do they keep the people on the missing list, and how long do they keep them on the missing list?
right.
Because there could be people on there from 30 years ago, and they're already adults. But
Well, this all ties in back to where I was talking about. We get bad information from the get-go anyway. So first of all, we don't know what the standards are. I mean, and this ties into COVID-19 deaths.
right.
As far as I know, they really haven't changed the standards, and the same numbers that they're reporting. Oh my God, we're getting spikes here and spikes there. Have they changed the way they're counting them? Because we've already uncovered that we're doing a bad job of that. Again, or when we're talking about child deaths, are they redoing those over and over again? It's really irrelevant as to whether or not they're doing it. We need to know. They need to know is there a standard?
Right. Are they adding on to the numbers that were there before? Because they're not starting fresh every year, obviously.
No, but don't get me wrong. 1, 2, that's too many.
Yeah.
Too many missing children.
It obviously,
That's astronomical.
Well, and I've even heard double that here in America. I've heard that we've had over 800,000 children go missing. So I don't know who to believe. I mean, I can look it up on one news organization. It'll say 400. I'll look it up on another one. It'll say 800,000. So
and how many people are directly involved with it? Actually, have kids and they're basically donating kids that they don't even get counted because they're never reported missing. So again, like you said, you don't know what the real numbers are.
The scariest thing, it hurts my head to believe that this could be the possibility. But you know how big China is, right?
Mm-hmm.
How big their population is. Well, did you know they have the highest number of organ transplants? But they have the highest number of organ transplants than any other country in the world.
From my understanding is they also have the highest abortion rate.
I don't know. I do know that. Let's see. Get this pulled up. Okay.
Your screen share works.
Okay. Okay. So their numbers went up as of June 2020. But you got to remember what kind of country this is, right? This is China.
Yeah. So you don't even know.
Yeah.
You don't even know that you're getting correct numbers.
Correct. So you could have gotten, because of the number of people that have so-called died because of coronavirus and other illnesses, they have been dying and they've been donating their organs. So I think there's probably an underground thing going on about organ donations. Also, check this out. This is going to blow your mind too. COVID-19.
I've heard this. Yes, I have heard this.
Now, they're going to say it doesn't, but there's more proof. There's more proof than anything else of it actually happening.
Well, this is another rabbit hole that you go down, because you trace that back and you find that Bill Gates and
I think they're all connected.
You're right, but I mean, it's almost like we got dropped into a certain point, not at the beginning, obviously, somewhere half in the middle, and each little web leads back to another area. And
Exactly.
You're right, it all ends up being intertwined.
And it's
you got Bill Gates videos, talking about, ultimately we need to cut the population.
Yeah. And his wife's saying the same thing right there next to him.
Yep.
And what's happening? Well, sterilization, children going missing. Children. So the absent of future children. Not, you see what I'm saying? So if you're going to do population control, you wouldn't go after the parents so they don't have any more kids. You go after the children so they can't have kids or grandkids.
Correct.
And while you're at it, you're making money off organs. While you're at it, you're making money off sex trade. They're making money. I mean, it's nasty. It's disgusting.
The adrenochrome organs, it's.
I mean,
sickening.
They probably have a factory somewhere where they send all the bones and they burn them down into bone meal, and they probably sell it right back to Americans to put in their garden.
No, that's.
I mean, how many times have we actually thought about going to Lowe's, buying bone meal, and having it tested for human DNA?
You would automatically think that there's no way I'd go to the store and buy that.
Well, I mean, that's like I told you guys before, there was a man out in the Midwest. He was killing illegal immigrants and he was selling beef jerky. Well, a company got a hold of him and was trying to get his beef jerky recipe. He wouldn't tell them. He kept it secret. So they tested the beef jerky. Came up to be human meat.
Oh my God.
Yeah. So
that would freak me out. The other part of that rabbit hole is, they're talking about the vaccine contains something that's going to actually alter or change our human DNA. Human heads on the menu.
Now, I do know human meat was found in McDonald's factory.
There we go.
I do know that. Do know that they found human meat in Tyson's chicken factory. It was an accident. A man was in, or it might not have been accident. It might have been murder. The guy was inside of a machine that beheads the chicken.
Hence the term processed.
Yeah. Bones and all. Human meat. Allegedly found human meat. Horse meat in freezers. See, stuff I don't doubt is horse meat. I really don't care. I've eaten horse before. It's not bad. I mean, it's another mammal on earth that, other than the cow, I just don't see a problem with it. It's kind of like eating deer.
That's funny. I remember seeing a meme at some point that had a picture of a billboard, and it had like, an elephant, a moose, a cow, a horse, a dog, a cat, and a hamster or something. And it said, still want to eat meat. Where do you draw the line? And somebody had gone up with a can of spray paint and spray painted a line between the cow and the horse and everything to the right. It's like, okay, here's where I put the line.
So look where we're at right now, and look where we started. I mean, we started with QAnon, children going missing, and now we're up to somewhere possibly serving human meat and organs.
Cannibalism
and stuff. And so now let's go back. Let's stop it. And let's think. When these children go missing, they have 24 hours, 24 to 48 hours to be found. Otherwise, there's a high likelihood they're not in this country.
Agreed. Or recoverable.
Or exactly, in a recoverable mental state or physical livelihood state, to where they're able to come back into civilian life. And it's sad because you have 24 to 48 hours to find most of these children. The cartel has aircraft. The cartel has submarines. The cartel, not just the Mexican. I mean, I'm talking about. You got shipping containers. You got
cargo ships.
Cargo ships. Hillary Clinton owned Evergreen. Have you ever heard of that?
I've heard of Evergreen, but I don't know what it is.
Evergreen, Hillary Clinton's code word connection to. Oh wow! Look at here. Adrenochrome. What did they find inside of these shipping containers? Can you see what I'm saying?
No, you're not
Oh,
screen sharing.
you're going to want to see this. This is what they found inside of her shipping containers. This is her shipping containers. They're Evergreen. It's the company she owns. She says she had no idea that children were being shipped inside like fucking packages. Let's see what happened here.
It is the WikiLeaks bombshell that we've been waiting for. A convicted child abductor caught stealing children with the Clintons. As we've reported here over the past 48 hours, details have emerged from the FBI's reopened investigation into Hillary's emails that were found on Anthony Weiner's laptop.
Before I go any further, can you hear and see this?
Yes, good audio, good video.
Okay.
But when it's playing, I can't hear what you're saying.
Various additional crimes were also under investigation that were unrelated to the email server case, involving, among other things, child trafficking. Now, WikiLeaks has just released perhaps the biggest bombshell yet, now spreading like wildfire across the web, revealing emails showing how the Clintons supported child stealer Laura Silsby. Now, there was also an email where they were actually pricing how much it costs to transport the children. The evidence is there to prove the Clintons are tied to child abduction. This is no joke. Here is a picture of the child snatcher herself in prison. Pretty soon we should hope to see Hillary Clinton standing in a cell similar to that. Her name is Laura Silsby. She's right there on the far right, and she runs the, quote, it's called the New Life Children's Refuge. It's a nonprofit. She was caught trying to steal 33 children from Haiti back in 2010, and most of them were not orphans and still had families. Now, Hillary has a long relationship with Miss Silsby. WikiLeaks emails date all the way back to 2001 and show that she discussed fundraising for Silsby's group. Now, the Harvard Human Rights Journal revealed that one of Bill Clinton's first tasks in Haiti following the earthquake was to, quote, put out the fire of the child abduction scandal involving American citizens. The journal states, quote, the missionaries were charged with child kidnapping and criminal association. They write that President Clinton brokered the release of all the missionaries except for the group leader, Laura Silsby. And guess who represented Silsby in court? The convicted child kidnapper, George Puello Torres. He was the lawyer on counsel to get the missionaries involved in the child trafficking off the hook. Now, the same group, known as the New Life Children's Refuge, was caught emailing Hillary's campaign multiple times. Now, in Clinton email 3741, remember that, write it down, Clinton email 3741, they actually list the cost to transport a child. Investigators at the NC Renegade made the horrific plot very clear. Quote, what is coming to light is that the Clinton Foundation actually funded or otherwise supported the charitable organizations which were run as cover for these child abductions. They state, so while the organizations were doing disaster relief, there were child predators among the legitimate relief workers selecting children for special handling, which were removed from their home countries and delivered to the pedophile island by private aircraft. This is a shocking revelation, my friends.
I mean, did you see how easy it is to find information on it? If it's that easy to find information, there has to be some truth to it.
Yeah, and obviously it's being covered up because you don't, it's not like you're going to come across it on Yahoo News.
All right, so it says October. Yeah, right here it is. October 23rd, 2016.
4 years ago. Well, I enjoyed my time here.
Well, we appreciate you coming and joining us today, Tony, talking about QAnon. We're going to continue this conversation later on another episode. This is part one. Hopefully everybody will come and join us on part two. Please if you can, find Tony on TikTok. Tony, give them your TikTok name.
It'll be at Smatterchew, SMATTERCHEW.
Awesome. So catch Smatterchew on TikTok, and I am the Will World on TikTok, and this is Voices of America, the past, present, and future.
Thank you
God
for
bless
having me.
America. Well, it was wonderful having you. So everybody, don't forget, like, share, and subscribe on YouTube. Follow us on TikTok so that we can go live on TikTok at the same time as we're doing our podcast. Get to know these people one-on-one, ask them questions if that's what you would like to do, because you're not seeing the full video. There are more people on here. They're asking questions. They're doing things. You can donate through the Chime, Cash App, and PayPal for Voices of America. You can win prizes, have a great time hanging out with people if you just want to talk and have fun. But this is Voices of America with the Will World, or William Coffey as you know me. You guys have a wonderful evening, and hopefully here soon we will have Marshall Albertson back with us. This is episode 1 on QAnon.